I fit in with me. I can't really be something to someone else because they want me to be that type of female preacher, especially then, being young and only really seeing one particular woman that had a big platform, and that was Prophetess Juanita Bynum. And, shout out to her, just because I just was like, look at her like, oh my goodness, she's so powerful. But I didn't want to come off like the woman that wore the long dresses all the time.
Welcome to another episode of the Use Your Faith Today podcast. I'm Chidi Osuji. This is my wonderful host, April Osuji. And we are here to say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year 2026. Look at these cool glasses.
Yeah, shout out to Big Sis.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Cool glasses.
Now, we know it's been a little while since we've come to the pod, but hey,
it's
the holidays, it's all right. Busy, everything like that.
We had a good holiday.
We had a really good holiday.
Shout out to my birthday.
Yes.
December birthdays.
Yeah, she had a December birthday, which was great.
It was nice. It was nice.
And also, we're starting a new tradition where we host family on Christmas Eve. At our home. Our home, we try to make it very festive in the holiday season, and so
maybe we show a few pictures.
Yeah, we'll show a few pictures.
Like some things we did during
the Christmas holiday. Yeah, it was really good. But we're back. We're back in 2026. We're looking forward to a great year. We've already planned out a lot of things, and we're just excited. It's here.
We're excited. We're excited. 2026.
Another year to watch God work.
Yes.
Indeed. And as always, use the code UYFT pod at useyourfaithtoday.com. You can get 15% off any order. This right here is from the collection. This is the I take you at your word. Man can say whatever, but I take you, Lord, at your word. So this is I take you at your word hoodie. You see the little detail, the metal tips on the hoodie, tie, and the small loops. So small details like that are really intricate for this product. So check it out at useyourfaithtoday.com. And as always, we are sponsored by AprilOsuji.com. It empowers women for real transformation.
Yes.
It empowers women for real transformation. So check out
real transformation.
That's the Butterfly Project, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But today we wanted to talk about something that may be a little off the beaten path. You're a pastor.
I am.
And I'm the husband of a pastor. And actually, we were at a wedding anniversary, 30 year.
Yes.
Shout out to
renewal.
Shout out to Lamont and LaToya. They were celebrating, I think, 30 years, and they were renewing their vows. And we were, just hanging out at the party, all black party. It was really nice. And there was a guy at our table. We were just talking to them, small talk, and they told him that you were a pastor, and he came to me. He said, "What? How do you handle that, being married to a woman pastor?" And so that's what we're talking about today.
Right. It's real. It's real in those streets. Expectations with, first of all, a woman in leadership, right? And me being a pastor, serving at Better Life Faith Church International. Shout out to our ministry, where my father and mother are the pastors. So they work together in ministry, and I'm like the enforcer. So I'm like the third man in their little wonderful ministry team. And so I just always go back to when I first got saved, right? I got saved at 12 years old, watching The Awakening. Shout out to the late Apostle Clifford E. Turner. And so that was back in the day. If anybody know The Awakening, check out The Awakening. It was so good. Marquita and all this stuff like that. That's just, how I grew up and got saved watching that show. Just wanted to just hear the Lord grow and everything like that. My brother, as well as my cousins, they all started out in ministry. So I wasn't out here like, oh my goodness, let me be a pastor. I was okay. I direct the choir. I like work with children, which I currently work with children now. Right. And it was literally 20 years old in college, sitting in my dorm, and the Lord said ministry. And I promise you, I had to hear him like 2-3 times, like, no, you talking to me? You talking to me? You really talking to me? So he called me and I didn't know what that looked like. I thought like, well, maybe I could just be, working in ministry, just doing different things like that. But it changed even with my, major in college, because I was a pre-med major and I'm doing, all the different things, taking chemistry classes, anatomy classes.
You wanted to be a doctor.
Wanted to be a doctor.
A pediatrician, right at that?
Yes. And everyone called me Dr. April Pettis. That's what they did. My yearbook signed out Dr. April Pettis. I wanted to just be a doctor. I never saw ministry in this element, right? 12 years old, I got saved, but that's the difference when you get called into ministry. And so 20 years old, the Lord called me and I was like, what in the world? So I went to my mom and my dad, and my mama said, She said no.
Mama was looking out for you.
She said no. She was like, nope.
The trials and tribulations and travails that come with ministry.
Real talk. And she was like, no. I said, well, the Lord called me, Mama. And, I'm not trying to disrespect my parents. I'm like, what in the world? And it just changed and shifted. And I got ordained in April. So many moons, but 23 years ago. So what does that make that?
03 or 02?
2003.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. 2003. Okay. 2003, I got licensed. And then 2005, I became the youth pastor of our church. Something like that. Okay. Maybe.
You know better than me.
Well, I have to check it out. But whatever. It's been a long time.
Before Chidi.
Before Chidi. So I have to check it out. I always get mixed up with dates. But anyway, I know the Lord called me at 20 years old. So I'll just say that much.
Okay.
Needless to say, it's such a whirlwind, right? When you are a woman in ministry and, you're single. Woman in ministry,
and a pretty single woman in ministry.
A pretty single,
if you may
woman
say so
in
yourself.
Ministry, if I say so myself, or so you got all the factors that go with that, right? Dating, who you dated, everybody watching you. I'm a pastor's daughter. Right. I am serving as a youth pastor at the church, so I'm being very transparent with my youth, letting them know. I'm not the type of person that bring a lot of people around, so I've only probably brought like 2 around. Made it very clear to my youth who I was pastoring and still pastoring to this day, just and everything like that. And it is a wonderful experience being a woman in leadership, but it is something that you got to be ready. You got to always be ready.
So what kind of things did you experience being a woman, single, dating for marriage, presumably dating for marriage, and you being in a leadership position? What were some of the hurdles that you experienced? And
people have expectations of what that looked like, right? I am very versatile in my hair, right? I'll just say that. I'll just give you an example. So I went for a season. I was really red, like Mary Red. When Mary first came out, I had red hair. And I was coloring my hair, for those, this is just sad. I was coloring my hair with like Kool-Aid sometimes. I was doing all types of funny stuff with my hair. Kool-Aid. And anybody who follows me, who see me, I'm always changing my hair. I love wearing
Kool-Aid
wigs.
Though?
Yeah, it was just like in college and stuff like that. I was using West Side. Oh, you all black. Okay, you try to do. He's trying to do one of the others. You so West Side or black. You choose it. So I was like coloring my hair, and at times, my ministry would be presenting and I'm kind of rowdy, and I'm still, even now to this day, I'm still so humble when I preach the gospel. I really am, because I just.
You seen her clips? Does that look humble?
Listen, I am. I don't know how the Lord's going to lead. I write down, I study, I do what I need to do, but I never want to offend anybody with my presentation, right? And so here it is. My hair is red, especially in the beginning of that time. Then I went blonde. Then I went pink. Then I went gray. Then I went purple. I mean, just you could think of, I just changed my hair. And sometimes that would be offensive to people, right? As a woman in leadership, oh, you shouldn't be wearing your hair like this. Then, your clothing. Oh, you shouldn't be wearing it. That's too short. That's too tight. And so I was finding myself battling with, trying to find myself, oh, you're a woman, you can't sit in the pulpit. This for the, Baptist church when we were, traditional, you can't sit in the pulpit, or you can't wear earrings. And it's a lot, I think, for women to have a lot of I can'ts. You can't do this, you can't do that. And, I had to find my identity, find my place, who I was, I'm representing, and I literally had to come to this realization that my ministry may not be for everybody, and that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. You know, I used to be like, oh, I gotta be such and such, and trying to please people and how I talk and how, you know, and at the end of the day, I have just come into this season where my ministry may not be for everybody, and it's okay. It's okay. And so as I serve my ministry at church, as I serve the youth, as I continue to do what I need to do, people will be drawn to what I have to bring, right? And so that's the exterior, but then it's the interior of, am I good enough to continue to do this? Right. You know, I haven't done every I, crossed every T. I've been, you know, I had days where I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, that was not Christ-like. Right. And just to be real. And so, you know, once again, the Lord called me. Right. Yeah. He called me in college. Didn't think that this was my thing because like I said, my brother, my cousins, everybody else was preaching because that was the thing, you know, young boys at that time, just preaching, or young men preaching. And I wasn't looking for that. Right. I just like directing a choir, you know, doing whatever I need to do. And for God to call me, such I call it a funny time because I was in a relationship too. And I'm like, what in the world? You call me, you know, I'm with this person. Right. Now I got to change this, you know, so it was different. But I said, yes. I said, okay, God, I wasn't running. I was like, okay.
So let me ask you this. As you were finding yourself as a single woman and you were dating people, so do you have any examples of what someone did or said that made you know, like, this is not what I need in my ministry. This is not what I need for ministry, for where God is taking me. Is there anything specifically?
Yo, stop right there. I know the conversation is good and good, but we need you to like, subscribe, and share. Share this episode. Come on, join this movement. Use your faith today. Like, subscribe, and share. Right there. Right there. You do it right there. It's nothing. I think me finding my own way. Like, my apostle is a wonderful teacher, right? And I'm like Pentecostal, who, you know, I may say some stuff a little hood, you know, whatever you want to call it. And I just would have to be comfortable in that, right? In how the Lord has given me the gift to preach and what that looked like, you know. And so at the end of the day, I think I just had to fit in where I fit in, which is me. I fit in with me. I can't really be something to someone else because they want me to be that type of female preacher, especially then, you know, being young and only really seeing one particular woman that had a big platform, and that was Prophetess Juanita Bynum. And, you know, shout out to her, just because I just was like, look at her like, oh my goodness, she's so powerful. But I didn't want to come off like the woman that wore the long dresses all the time. And no shade today. It's just, I was like, I don't want to do all that. You know, not like that. I ain't trying to wear no split up here. You know what I'm saying? But that was just how the presentation of women pastors were, right? Yeah. Wearing the long dresses, no makeup, no earrings and stuff like that. And I just was like, but I want to color my hair and I want to wear makeup. And, you know, and I had longer nails than this, and I've tamed down.
Eccentric dresser.
That's what he called me, eccentric dresser.
So we got married at 36.
Yes.
And by that time, presumably, you had some idea of what it is you want. You went through some experiences with other people, and you said, I don't want that. I want something else, you know, and part of it is someone who's going to accept me and my calling as a pastor. So what did you see in me that gave you peace of mind that I could fit the bill or that I wouldn't disrupt that?
Yes, that's a good question, honey. Oh my goodness. So honestly, you have the good questions. You have the good question. When I took my sabbatical from dating, I think we talked about that sometime, and then especially this season.
Go back to episode 1. It was a 5-part series. Episode 1, how we got together. And I took my sabbatical, different things like that. And I always, a woman of faith who to this day, I just call her my bestie. And I haven't really, you know, said this to her, but I'm saying it out loud. You know, Joyce Meyer, right? You know, I just love Joyce Meyer ministry, and I just love how her and Dave Meyer just work together, how he supports her and she just keeps flowing. You know, he keeps her grounded, seems like, from how she presents herself. So I look at that, I was like, man, I want that guy. I want somebody who's going to keep me grounded, because I know I could go 0 to 100. I mean, as of late, you call me Hurricane April because be going. So I need somebody to keep me
grounded, keep me, focused, making sure that I'm okay, right? As the wife piece of me and the mother and different things like that. And so, that's what I prayed for. And what I saw in you was like, you just real chill, you real chill. You're okay with me preaching. You don't feel some type of way. Like there was someone that wanted to date me, and this is just some time ago, whatever, you could pick whatever day, where, of course they knew that I were ministry. It was like, well, God called me to be, particular elevation in ministry. I was like, okay, well, I could do, well, no, that's not my wife. Well, then I'm not your wife, right? Because the Lord called me. So now, because you feel like the Lord has called you in that elevation, which is a blessing. So basically, let's just put me in the back scene because you want to come up. And that's not how I saw my marriage looking like. I saw that we will work together. Truth be told, all of us are called, right? We are all ministers, going ye to all the world and preach the gospel. So just because I have the title, yes, and I'm grateful for the title, but I look for somebody that we can both go into the ministry. We both like going to street ministry over the summer. We like witnessing to people, telling people about Jesus. And that's what I want to see. And so, with you, I was like, oh, okay. You supported it. You saw the ins and outs with me, and you have never displayed like that. Oh, I'm the man and you the woman. You take a back seat to whatever, or So that was what I saw.
Yeah, well, I'll give, I guess, my more than 2 cents. Obviously, I knew you were a pastor. It didn't bother me, but I knew before that I knew you were a woman of God, and I knew you were a woman of high character and a woman of God, and so the being a pastor part did not. I didn't know everything that was going to come with that, but I'm like, can't be that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just be there to support. And, on top of that, I guess there are different layers to it. One, when I first joined Better Life Faith Church International, this year will be 20 years now.
Wow.
And I just was there serving, right? I was just serving. People back in those days, people wanted CDs of the message.
Yeah.
And I have created a whole system around the CDs, for our pastor, and just doing it just for the love. Just doing it, people wanted to sell them for $5 a CD, and we were able to use some of the proceeds to buy a CD printer and all this other equipment, from the sales of the CDs. And hey, we started making like little sets of his series because he would preach in the series, so we making like little CD sets. And various other things like that, and just doing that just off the strength of this is great word and people need to hear it over and over, meditate on it. And so he called me to his office one day. He said he wanted me to be the executive director of Stephen Pettis Ministry. So I believe God was already kind of preparing me to serve in ministry in that way and be a support to it, in a sense, to you. On top of that, obviously when we were dating, go back to episode 1, when the Lord showed me a vision of her, I was standing behind you in support, right? So I kind of already knew that was going to be part of, my purpose here in this relationship, in this marriage, that I was going to be, a support to you, what you're doing in ministry, right? And I guess the Dave Myers, just sit there and do the hallelujah clap and, just be like, okay, support, whatever you need. Now, did I know everything that came with that? But it's not, I know one thing that comes into that is I can't leave. After they say amen, I can't just leave. There's also the people you got to minister to and talk to and
right.
and encourage and exhort. And
right.
I'm just sitting there like, amen, looking at the watch. But but that's what comes. That just came with it. And so I think God had already kind of formed me to be like, a support in ministry. Yeah. And when the guy asked me that question at Lamont and LaToya's wedding vow renewal, my response was, you can't have an ego. I know a lot of guys might have an ego when it comes to like seeing a woman, particularly their woman, having the spotlight, having the platform, while you're back there. You're kind of wondering, who am I? What am I? Now, I might have ego in other aspects of things and other things, but when it comes to like ministry and the word going forth and helping people and serving the Lord, serving the house of God, I see no ego with that, right? And so my answer to him was like, I don't have any ego about it. I just like let her do her thing. Let Hurricane April roll, and I just be there.
He said
to collect the pieces at the end. You know what I'm saying? Pieces. And that's really the biggest thing for me. Another thing that I didn't realize that came with being the husband of a pastor. Now, this is a church/cultural revelation that we had. We talked about this before, where on Sunday afternoons, you want to be at home, rest, relax, chill together at home, right?
Right.
So I had to kind of renew my mind in that, because growing up, Sundays was when you visited family, you go around, you know what I'm saying? That's when you visited the extended people, being in the Nigerian community, you visit other people in the Nigerian community on Sunday after church, you visit with family, see how you're doing, X, Y, Z, maybe have a meal together and things like that. And so I learned, I'm not going to say quick, but I learned eventually that, hey, Sundays after church are kind of 60. That's your time to reflect on the day, relax, renew yourself, get ready for work the next day, and I'll be bouncing all around, the world, seeing everybody.
It was a reality check for you. It's just and just because Sunday is, because I am a pastor, I'm full-time serving, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm giving counseling, I'm praying for people, I'm serving in praise and worship. I'm just doing a lot, and to just continue to entertain. And I don't even want to say that because it's not an entertaining thing, but just to be with people all day. Then go back into my particular field. I'm in social service, right? Working in Head Start. That's just a whole different element. It's like, okay, when do I have a shutdown day, right? We want to go visit family. We got Saturday. Saturday's a good visit family day. Come on. You know what I'm saying? But Sunday is my time that I am pouring into people, and once I'm being used by the Lord, I want to come home, put my feet up, and just be chill and prepare for the week. I like to prepare for my week, and especially for the things that I do. So yeah, man.
Okay, well that was an opportunity for me, for sure.
Yeah.
So being a wife, being a pastor, being so involved with ministry as you are, how do you find the balance to, like, you're this leader in ministry, pastoralship, people look to you, people come to you, people depend on you, but how, and hey, it can be taxing, physically, however, to use every time you lead 6 a.m. prayer every morning, every weekday. So how do you strike a balance between, I don't know if the balance is the right word, but between those duties and your obligations to your home, even as our kids are on their way, or kids are here, kids are, what I'm saying, like, gonna be in our arms just like this any second now. How do you balance that with being a wife and mother?
Yeah, it is a balance, and I'm still learning.
Okay.
I'm still learning. Because some days I'll say that now, when I was single, I used to get calls all times of the night. All times of the night. I think now, because, people who love me and have seen me grow and seen our marriage continue to grow, they understand boundaries, right? And, sometimes there's a few that they kind of push, but I think they respect that. And I'm even saying, we have to set boundaries, okay? I'm not as accessible as I used to be, especially when I was single, and now I'm married and we're building our family. And so I will say that it's still a growing process, because I remember, like, maybe the first few years of our marriage, I was feeling guilty, like I wasn't doing enough. Like, that I don't even know what to call it, just because I was so used to being there for everybody. So now I'm married. I'm loving being married. I like being married and everything's like that. And then, I had people say, "Oh, you changed." Well, I'm supposed to change. So. I'm supposed to change when I'm becoming one with someone. So it just, really allowing the Lord and not feeling guilty, taking that shame off, taking that guilt off. Like, I have to be everything to everybody. And one thing my pastor/dad said to me, he was like, if they really got an emergency and they can't call 911, call Jesus. They first gonna need to call Jesus, number one, then call 911 before they get to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was just like a hilarious statement, but it's the statement of truth because I can't be everything to everybody, right? Especially in our becoming one journey. And it is a journey. So, have I got it all together? Some days I just have to, okay, April, you got to deal with that tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. You don't have to deal with that today. And even though my intent can be right in trying to help somebody or trying to do something for ministry, I also have to take a moment to be like, regroup, right?
Yeah.
Have my own self-care, my own balance, my time with you and different things like that. So,
and there should be grace, obviously both ways. Our word says, submit one to another. There should also be grace one to another as well. Like there might be a time where the ministry really needs you, and I have to be understand that for a season, right? But know that it's going to be made up for on the back end. So I would say I'm gonna ask you what you would say to someone, a woman who desires to be married, who's in ministry, what you would say to look for.
Yeah.
And I would just say, if you're a man and your wife is being called to ministry, or she's already in ministry and she's serving, first of all, have no ego with it. You know what I'm saying? Like her being up on that stage does not take anything from you as a man. In fact, you be her cheerleader, you be her biggest cheerleader, be her shoulder to cry on, be her ear to vent. You know what I'm saying? Do that for her. And so what would you say to somebody who a young woman who's looking to go into that?
To go into ministry. I mean, just continue to hear the voice of the Lord, right? Continue to grow, find your voice, right? Your voice and how God is using you. And the person who comes into your life is additionally speaking, right? And that's how I say it. Like, you are an asset to my life. You are not someone who's a liability trying to take away, tear down, or anything like that. You are adding to my life. And anybody who loves, firstly, Christ, and then because they love Christ, they'll love you. They'll understand that we're in ministry together. Like, I may have the platform, but you're in ministry because you're praying for me, you intercede for me. That's why it takes somebody to continue to be there when I could be under a spiritual attack, right? Where you're praying and you believe in. So I want you to be encouraged as a woman of faith, that women of faith have changed in so many different ways over the last time. When I was 20 years old and got into ministry, only saw one particular prototype of what a minister should look. But, the Lord may call you to hit a street that may be not my street, and that's okay, right? But we all do it for the glory of God. And I think that whoever is joined to you should be able to understand that, continue to build you up, continue to help you be where you need to be. And that's my advice. You just continue to do you. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing me. Yes, I have evolved and I've changed and made my nails as not as long, and my hair is red here and there, different things like that. But regardless of that exterior, my posture in prayer, my posture in faith, my posture in being the person God called me to be is constantly growing. Every day. I never get to a place where I know it all, especially in ministry, because I learn something new. God will open up my eyes to a scripture, or open up my eyes to a situation, and I'm like, okay, God, I'm gonna do it that way, right? So I'm always a humble servant / child in God's eyes when it comes to this. I'm just grateful that He chose me. 23 years in, man, I'm still going strong. So.
Well, all right.
Yeah, that's the MJ number.
There you go, 23.
23.
Well, again, this episode is brought to you by aprilsuji.com. Transforming women for real transformation. Empowering women. Empowering women for real transformation.
Empowering women for real transformation.
So check that out. And also, as always, useyourfaithtoday.com. You get 15% off with the code UYFT pod. Now, we're closing out the episode, but I want to go into one thing. April's pet peeve.
Oh my God, it's the pet peeve. That's why we got the laugh, because I just like laughing at
we
stuff.
We just gotta do it because every day April comes to me and says, what's my pet peeve? And so I said, we gotta add this to the podcast.
Okay, so what's my pet peeve? Which one you gonna bring up and we can explore?
Closing calls too quickly.
Oh my goodness. So my husband closes calls, so it bothers me. So you like, okay, I'll talk to you later, honey. And And you know how people give like that extra second or two. You like, okay, I see you, like, click. It's like, I didn't finish my sentence and I hear the end. It's like, what in the world? That is on my pet peeve, especially with him. Yeah. Ooh. Give it a second. Breathe on the phone.
We said goodbye.
No, I would say, oh, I'm on my way home, 5 minutes away. Oh, okay. Like, I can't even say, oh, okay. It'd be like, oh, click. I'm like, so yeah, that's my pet peeve. I've told him, can you just give it a second? Like, all right, honey, see you later.
Something about me doesn't like waste emotion, wasted time,
waste dial space, waste. What in the world?
I just want to be efficient with stuff, like beep, like just all right, bye. Like I don't know. I just
yeah,
okay,
that's
bye.
my pet
But like okay, bye.
No, like not that long, but y'all know what I'm saying. It's like that. You know, all right, see you later. Okay.
Okay, here's what I do now. All right, now bye. All right, that's how I do it. All right, but you want me to be like, all right, bye.
No, I don't even say bye. I be like, all right. I be like, all right, bye. I don't even get the bye out. I don't even get the bye out. It don't even come out. So I'm just like, what in the world? Seriously? Okay.
You know what? The Lord is working on me.
He's working on him not to be that click real quick, brother.
April's brought to my attention that I can be. I know this about myself. I can be kind of short and curt.
We're at a restaurant, and I'm just like, wait. And I have never been the person who like works like in food service. Like I couldn't be a waitress. I just couldn't be a waitress. I probably could be a hostess. Welcome to Shayla Murray, whatever, blah, 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 right? I could be a hostess. I could sit you down, give you your menus, and be done. Being a waitress, shout out to all the people that's wait. That's not me, right? So we could be at a restaurant. It could be Cheesecake Factory because I love Cheesecake Factory. I'm not one of those people that like don't say Cheesecake Factory. So we can be at Cheesecake Factory. We know Cheesecake Factory is always busy, at least the one that we go to. So it's always busy. And of course they try to get the orders in. And my husband is the king of excuse me. If like the person running around like who shot Johnny? Oh, excuse me. Can I get more lemons?
You know what? I gotta work on my
because I need to fill up my cup with lemons. Okay, like the whole lemon thing is just that's another topic for another time. Like the whole cup is full of lemons.
I like lemons with my water.
He like lemons with his water. You might as well add some white sugar that he can make his own lemonade because he don't want to pay the $8.50 for the lemonade, right? Okay, I got you. But yeah. But like so it's just working on that part
because working on my curtness and my terseness and my shortness. So the fruit of the spirit, one of them is patience. So I'm working on
patience.
Okay?
Yes, give it up.
All right, well that's another episode of Use Your Faith Today.
Let's go.
We're gonna do this every 2 weeks. I think we're coming at you every 2 weeks with
We checking this out.
Yeah. We want to give you. I think every 2 weeks. I think it's good. So check us out in another couple of weeks. We're gonna be having some things in the middle, like some shorts and clips of that, just to kind of keep you going. But check us out, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.